Bonjour peeps, hi, this is Neshi. Welcome to Star Nation's organization's main fan page here on Facebook and the daily live stream that I do regarding the card draw that I do for the day to see what kind of energy is flowing that we need to know about. So welcome. It is Thursday afternoon, October 18th. Yeah, it's the 18th already. Imagine that. Yikes. Hey, Mervyn Kelly just joined us in the chat. Hi, Mervyn, Nellie Kelly. Yeah, I just looked at the date and in my mind I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I got to sit down and write my articles for the November issue. I haven't done that yet. It's my next thing I have to do. Hello there. Oh my gosh. Today is another beautiful day here. Oh my God. Although I have to say, when I got up at 6 o'clock this morning, it was 25 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold. That's very cold. You would say that is a hard frost, right? Mm-hmm. But the temperature, we're at 61 degrees, I believe. 61. So it's actually pretty nice out. We got blue skies and the sun's out, and yeah, pretty good. And so good that I was actually contemplating raking leaves this afternoon. Hopefully that thought will pass, because I got a whole bunch of other stuff I got to get done. Although being outside would be so much fun, so much more fun, right? So I wanted to say that this anniversary that we're doing, that we're having for the magazine, Star Nation's magazine, it's our 5th year, right? And I was ordering the October issue magazines for the winners from Tuesday night from my show, and getting them done. And George is back with me today. He's not at puppy daycare, puppy school. Yeah, he's getting to be a big boy. He's 26 pounds. 26 pounds. He's after his Kong. I filled it with treats, so he'll have a good time, at least for the next 5 minutes. He's getting big. It's hard to pick him up, and if he starts wiggling around, it's like that's a lot of weight to try to calm down. So Stephanie's with us too. Good afternoon, Stephanie. It's good to see you in the chat. And Joy, hi Joy. Welcome to the live stream show. Yeah, I think it's Elise Miller who because I've never really named this. It's just the daily live stream that I share the card draw information, right? And Elise Miller, who is a longtime listener to the shows, she says it's Neshi's non-show, because I never really named it. One of these days, maybe I will. I'll turn it into an official Star Nation's radio network live stream show, but not today. Today, I am sharing the information about the card draw that, I do a card draw just about every morning. And I've done this for years and years and years. And basically, it was just for myself, just to see what kind of energy was flowing for the day and what I should be aware of, right? And last year, right around this time, I thought, hey, we should share this on Instagram, and just as a quote, just a quote. And then in May, I had this brilliant idea that we should do live streams. And if I do a daily card draw, then I guess I do a daily live stream. Because I thought maybe some of the community members at Star Nations would enjoy having a conversation about the information. And, it's kind of like sitting around the dining room table with your favorite beverage, coffee, tea, water, that kind of stuff, and having a conversation about the spirituality of the cards and what they might mean for us today. And so when I do my card draw, it is very intentional. I connect with my spiritual team, and I ask them to please show me the energy that's most important for us to know about today, for our highest good, right? And that we can share with others. And so that's what happens. Hey, Jackie. And before we get going with rolling with the cards, I'm going to share out the live stream. So if you give me a second, and if you would like to do that too, I would appreciate it. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I would appreciate it. It just helps us to be able to reach more people because it puts us in the news feed more often, right? Yeah, I don't know about you, but my internet here has been kind of wonky. I was even having problems with YouTube the other day. All right, why do I have there? Okay, I say there's no picture. There's a black screen. All right, so I'm going to write a post to my news feed and let my friends know that I'm live streaming, and let them know that I'm doing this, and if they can join me. So please join. There we go. I'm going to post that, and then I'm going to post it in the closed group for the radio network, Star Nation's radio network, because that particular group is where most of the active members of our community hangs out. And I'm live streaming right now. And then please join me. And that's it. So I'm going to send it over to the radio network and also to the academy. There we go. Done. Done, 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 done. It doesn't take too long. And it's just a little bit of a pause before we head on over to the actual card drop. I almost dropped them. Yeah. Hi, Stephanie. She says you can also set up for alerts to get notifications when Neshi Star goes on live and any videos through Star Nation's Facebook page. Thank you, Stephanie. You know, I haven't shared that information in quite a long time, actually. When in the classes that we've had here in the last 2 weeks, do you see George? Oh, please don't play with the drapes. He likes to walk behind them. Yeah, when you're on our main fan page, the Star Nation's Radio Network magazine and publishing main fan page that we're live streaming from right now, when you go up to the notifications at the top of the page, there's a little drop down box when you click on that, and you can select see first there, because otherwise it does it automatically goes to default, and if it's on default, chances of it showing up in your newsfeed is probably pretty slim. But you can also set up the alerts as well, as Stephanie wrote. So thank you, Stephanie, for the reminder. So anyway, the last couple of classes that we've had here, we've actually had like a tutorial. Because people are saying, the show starts and I'm behind and it's hard to find. And I said, well, have you set up your notifications? And, the blank look is like, what notifications? And so I got my laptop out to show them. And, and so they got their phones out. And as we were working on it, they were clicking so that they could actually set it up correctly, right? Yeah. A lot of people don't know about those notifications. Hey, Amy, good to see you in the chat, in the live chat. Thanks for joining us. So for those who are maybe joining us for the first time, either live or in the recording, that's my puppy, George. George is 3 months old. George is 3 months old. He's a car. He's actually kind of a handful these days because 3 months old. He's big enough to get himself into some real trouble. So I've got some lavender. He doesn't really like the smell too much, but it'll help calm him down. If I get a little bit on his ears, he usually is good. Yeah. He wants to play. That's the thing. And 3 month old puppies like to play. Yeah. When he was really little, when we first got him, what he would do is I'd come up here to do the show, and he would go to sleep. He would lay underneath my chair and go to sleep. He's not going to sleep. Yeah. So I had him out earlier too. We were running around and trying to get his energy, out, kind of expend some of that puppy energy. All right. So these are the cards that we're using right now. They're by Kyle Gray. They're called Angels and Ancestors Oracle cards. Yeah. Don't you just love that artwork? The artist is Lily Moses is the name of the artist. Yeah. On the inside of the cover, it says Guardians of the Four Corners, Mother in the Earth, Father in the Sky, Angels, Ancestors, Sacred Ones, I call on you and welcome you here now. Isn't that nice? That is so nice. I was looking for a new deck, really wanting to, because the decks I've had for years and years. And I wanted to get a new deck that had more of a Native American feel to it, right? And those are hard to come by. Good ones are really hard to come by. And so I was at Amazon.com and I was just scrolling through trying to find a new Oracle deck, divination cards. And this one came up and literally kind of jumped off the screen at me. And so I read the description, and one of the things that Kyle Gray says is that he, like what he's doing is he's taken a lot of ancient information, knowledge, and through the cards is bringing them into modern day, and that is so close to Star Nation's mission statement. Not funny. So I thought, So I had to pre-order them. They weren't released yet when I found them in early September. They were published in 2018 and released in September. I think it was like around the 15th or 18th of September. And I got the deck of cards like that following week. So like the last week of September. So in case you're wondering, where do you get those cards, right? Oh, you couldn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Stephanie said, "Can you can't hear you when he barks. The mic is adjusting to his volume." Darn. Well, as soon as he's calmer now. So he's underneath my chair and he's sleeping, I think. So it feels like it anyway. All right. So here is the first card that was drawn for this morning. It's the Mirror Guardian. Take time to reflect. Take time to reflect. Yeah. And she's looking in the mirror. And what is she looking at? She's looking at the Milky Way. She's looking at the stars. Yeah, it's a gorgeous picture, isn't it? Yeah. That color blue is something else too, isn't it? Take time to reflect. And so what does Kyle have to say about that? Taking time to reflect. That reflection, what we're doing is we're going inside, right? To look, to see what is it that we're reflecting out to the world, because what we see in our world is what we've created is from the inside out. And so depending on what you want in your world, you create it on the inside. So if you want peace, you do your individual healing for those emotional and mental traumas. And so when you heal enough of those, you start to find that quiet place, that peace that you're looking for. And that's reflected on the outside of us, right? And whenever we've gotten this card one other time, I believe. And the last time we got this card, one of the things that came to my mind is there's a form of divination called scrying, SCRY, scrying. And it's a kind of divination that isn't used very often, I don't think. But in the old days, the ancient ones, they would use scrying. Hello, Hope. Nice to see you. And one of my sisters is here, Christine. Hi, Christine. I was thinking about you earlier today, wondering we should do a Skype call, you and I. That's what I was going to contact you about. We'll do it on the PM, on the private side. Um, so, the scrying, I'm wondering if there's anybody in the live chat, or if you're watching this on recorded, if you could put in the comments, do you use the divination of scrying? Some use a mirror. There's some who use water. And in the deck of cards, the Sacred Path cards that we had, that we used, I think they were like the first set that we went through. There was a form of divination used there. And what they would, Native American nations, what they would do is hollow out, it's like a wooden bowl with kind of like a flat bottom. And they would use charcoal from the fires and beeswax, and they would coat the inside of the wooden bowl, right? So it's kind of waterproof with the beeswax, and it would dry. And what they would do is they would fill it with water, clear water. It doesn't have to be very deep, and they would use that as for scrying, divination. I teach about divination, mostly through cards and through dowsing. But I've never taught about scrying. And I have to say, I've only tried it once myself. So Stephanie's saying, yeah, for group readings. Well, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, Stephanie, do you use a mirror when you do the scrying, or do you use water? Because what you need is a reflective surface, right? A reflective surface. And the reason why they use water is because it carries the energy. It's a better conductor, right, of energy. And the mirror, when you think about the mirror in a feng shui sense, mirror represents water. It's a feminine energy, and also mirrors are made up of silicon, right? Sand, and so yeah, it's interesting stuff. There's so many different ways that we can contact spirit. And Julie Hedges is here too. Good afternoon, Julie. Good to see you in chat. Stephanie says, when I was a teen, I did mirror, smoke, water, and cloud. Ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah, so I've done mirror and I've done water, but I've never done smoke. Clouds are kind of cool. I've never actually done readings for somebody else with clouds, but as kids, how often have we laid on the ground and watched the clouds go by and say, oh, I see this and I see that, right? Yeah. So let's see what Kyle has to say about the Mirror Garden. And for those that have just joined us, this is the first card, Mirror Guardian. Take time to reflect. Take time to reflect. So the message is, take some time to reflect on your strengths and challenges and how far you've come. Recognize your gifts. I like that message. We get caught up in the doing of just about everything, right? I think it's one of the, I don't know, one of the things of just being a two-legged is that even when it's spiritually based, even when we're reading about something about spirit and spirituality, we're doing our own healing work, we're seeing healers, we're meditating, we're doing our spiritual work. Even with that, we get caught up in the doing of it. And this card is really asking us to pause and just reflect. Now, you can use a mirror if you want, but really all you need to be is quiet and just reflect over. If you want to do your entire life, that's fine. But just, even over the last year and all the changes that you've been through, all the challenges that you've met, because it's in the challenges that we have the greatest gifts. I know. Uh, yeah, that's where we get the most soul growth, right? Is through the challenges. And so this card is really asking us to take a look at that, to reflect on it, and see how much we've grown, how we've shifted and changed. Because sometimes we get so caught up in the doing of it that we don't take the time to reflect, a time to pause, and time to celebrate our achievement, right? And what we've accomplished, what we've accomplished. Yeah. Julie says, listening at work today. I remember those days when I had my own little cubicle at my state job. Yeah. Had the headphones on. Usually had music playing, but sometimes I would listen to podcasts. Those were in the early days of podcasting. Yeah. Um, so, how many people in the live chat, how many people have taken the time just to be quiet, be in a quiet place for a short period of time anyway, and to do that reflection? How far you've come, how much you've accomplished. Because when we're caught up in the doing, many times it's like we feel like, you know, it's never ending. That we have to keep going. We keep putting one foot in front of the other. We could be like, really, really tired, physically fatigued, and yet we keep putting one foot in front of the other. Why? Because we're trying to accomplish or trying to meet this internal a goal or the intention that we set and to achieve it. Um, yeah, and sometimes that we just get caught up in the doing and don't take the time. Another thing that we don't take the time to do is to celebrate those achievements, even the little ones, right? Of course, when they're really big ones, we should be throwing a party. We should be inviting those people who we love the most and they love us, and celebrating each other, right? We did that not too long ago. See, this is October. I think it was in July, or maybe it was August. I forget, July or August. Um, three of the sisters got together to celebrate one of our sisters, to Teresa, and her accomplishments, and yeah, just because she has achieved so much, so much, and from where she started out, was it 5 years ago, something like that, going through a really massive changes in her life, and now she's sitting in a place that is much more, as she would say stable, and there's a word she always uses. I can't think of it right now, but it really is, in a safe place, in a good place, and thriving. She's really thriving. So we need to take that time, right, to reflect. Kyle goes on to say that angels accept you just the way you are. Even when you are going through a challenging time, they still hold you in the highest esteem. The mirror guardian, a female angel looking into the mirror of life, invites you to witness your spiritual strength and beauty, to see yourself as the angels do. The mirror represents the fact that your core beliefs and ideas are, in fact, what is reflected back to you by your world. Your life is one big mirror of how you feel within, and the mirror guardian helps you to recognize that. When this card appears, you're being invited to take some time to see where you are right now. Yeah. Seeing your accomplishments, the things that you thought you couldn't do, and yet you got through it. That's a huge accomplishment, especially if you consider all of the wisdom that you gained from that experience, that life lesson in there. The gift afterwards is the wisdom from that experience, right? And a way to heal any of the trauma that you might have gone through because of the challenge, is to heal the trauma, to release it, but to keep the life lesson and the gift of the wisdom. That's the trick. That's the trick. Hey, Polly Jola Bay's in the chat too. Hey, lady. Yeah, welcome back, you traveler. She was on the road for 12 days. I bet it felt so good just to sleep in your own bed. I bet that was the feeling that you had on Monday night. Now, Kyle goes on to say that you are a beautiful being who has surmounted so many challenges and expanded in so many ways. Your angels are now guiding you to take inventory of your life, to take some time to note all of your recent experiences, the challenges that you have surmounted, the strengths you have developed, and the lessons that you have learned. Your angels want you to reflect on your strengths, in particular, those aspects of yourself that you feel have not been acknowledged by others. Ooh, that's a good one, isn't it? That's a good one. Because there's some things that we have accomplished, that we have gained, but we may not have had a witness to it. You know, there's things that we have accomplished on our own, with help from our spiritual team, but we may not have had somebody to witness it, to help ground it to the earth plane, right? We have many of those. Yeah. And those are important too. Even though some there you don't have somebody there knowing what you did, how you did it, and um, doing the hug or the pat on the back and saying good job. Those are still important. Sometimes those are the most important ones. Yeah. Okay, so many of those kinds of accomplishments that you don't have the accolades coming to you from other people. Um, Many times, those are the ones that come from our heart and not our ego, because we're not talking about those. We aren't saying, "Look what I did," you know. Um, the people that were affected, or the beings, I should say, that were affected by by your behavior, your words, that was in a good way, from that accomplishment, those are the ones that are going to say, you know what, I don't know how that happened, but somebody, they picked up the trash. They paid the water bill for the elder. They brought in the winter coats for the young ones. You know, they're the ones that dropped off the blankets. I don't know where they came from. They were all put in a box and they were put on the doorstep, or they were shipped, and nobody knows really who they came from. And it could have been you, right? Sometimes those are the ones that those acts of kindness and those acts of your growth is really coming from your heart and not your ego. All right. Hey, Sylvia. Good to see you in the chat. Polly Joe says, my bed and my cats were excited to see me. I bet they were. Oh my gosh. Stephanie says, the energy of accomplishments without witness has, and I think oh, there it is, has been floating around Instagram most of today. Super spot on, Neshi. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Erin, my niece is in the chat too. Good to see you there, Erin. Yeah, those are the ones that I think are the most meaningful, you know, um, because we don't have to announce it, right? There are some challenges and some things that we have accomplished that should be announced, and because it not just affected other people, but has changed your life to the point that other people are really paying attention to it and they're asking you about it. And so those are the times when, yes, we can share that and should share it and celebrate it publicly. Um, the one thing that pops into my head on that one is when let's say that you've been really trying to finish that degree, right? Um, and you finally did it. Yay! Those are times you should celebrate those accomplishments like that because it affects your life immensely. But the work that you're going to be doing using that formal education could affect many people, could be thousands of people that could be affected by it, right? The last time that comes to mind for me is when I was working for the state of Wisconsin, and I was on the project team. I was actually the team leader for it. Um, Tribal child support was just getting started. Um, we have 11 federally recognized tribes in the state of Wisconsin, and there were five of the 11 that wanted to start their own tribal child support. For a lot of reasons, that's a good thing. Um, and so I was able to be on that project, and ended up being more of a liaison between the state, the tribes, and the feds, because they all speak different languages, sometimes literally, um, and the bureau speak, right? The politics and that kind of thing. Um, but I had direct input into the federal regulations for tribal child support. You know, um, and so that the one piece that I am most proud of and grateful for the experience was that particular project. Um, yeah, that was the last big thing I did for the state of Wisconsin, and I know it affected a lot of people. So things like that, we can talk about and share and celebrate in. And then there's those other ones that we do quietly that that sometimes carry a bigger impact too. All right, so he goes on to say that offer yourself approval where it's due and know that when you give yourself credit, others will be able to do as well. And so for those that are just joining, this is the card that we got, Mirror Guardian. Take time to reflect. And I was saying that sometimes as two-leggeds, we don't take the time to be quiet and to kind of reflect over the past months, the past year, and to really take into account all those changes in our lives, all the things that we've accomplished, and how much we've changed and grown, um, the soul growth that we've gained over that time span. So it's a good card. Yeah. Take time. And I was asking in the chat if those in the live chat, if you've taken time to do that. Have you ever taken time to kind of be a little quiet, grab that cup of coffee or cup of tea and go sit on the porch, or, take a walk, to be quiet and do that reflection, that time to take into account what you just accomplished over the last X amount of time, and maybe even celebrate it. All right, so the next, we got 3 cards today. All right, so here's the second card that came. Anything to do with a drum, you know me, I love it. This is Dreams and Journey. Dreams and Journey. It's about the drum. And what I say about the drum is that every indigenous nation, every indigenous people on Grandmother Earth had some sort of drum. And if we go back far enough, we all come from an indigenous nation. Your indigenous people may come from a different continent. They're still your ancestors. They still had a drum. And so that's one of the reasons I believe that we are so connected to the sound of the drum, is because it touches that ancient part of us, right? That when we hear it, we remember what it feels like. And also, it's the first sound that we ever heard when we were in utero, our mother's heartbeat. Yeah. Polly Joe says, I love taking time to celebrate the little things especially. Yeah, I have to say that I've gotten out of practice with that, you know. Hi, Ann. Ann just joined us. Um, yeah, I have recently have done that. Um, I would say it took maybe 3 years that I didn't the last 3 years. But I can also say that in the past, when I've had time, when I made time to do this, those are also the times when I sat down and did my wish list of things that I want to accomplish, setting intentions for. Those were the times when I felt like um, that I think I'm meant more to do more than what I'm doing. It feels that way. You know, what is it that I'm really supposed to be doing right now in my with my soul work? And so those are also the times when I have said, gee, you know, it sure would be nice if I could, and start writing out the different things that I would like to do. So the last one, the most recent one, is I want to experience the application, the use of all of my gifts that I came in with at 100%. I want to know that experience. And so you know what that means, don't you? That means that I am doing a lot of my soul healing work. So on Wednesday nights with Polly Joe, and she's doing um, her evening of divine healing and messages, I'm always there and doing the meditations with her, because it's the one time a week that I know I am taking the time to do that healing work for myself. So the drum, the drum. Let's see, 122. So with Kyle, remember, you have to remember that Kyle Gray, the author of the cards, he is from the UK. He resides in Scotland, and so his perspective and the way he writes, you can tell that sometimes that is his background. Okay. So when he's writing about the drum, he says, journey inwards to uncover insights and information that will be important for your path, then follow the guidance. And so when we're using the drum, when you're using the drum as a part of setting those intentions, right? Your prayer, your request, is writing on the sacred geometry between the beats. It's not necessarily the actual beat as a drumstick hitting the drum head. It's in the sound, and within the sound, the sacred geometry of the sound in between the beats. Okay, now Kyle doesn't write about this. And so when you're using the drum and the drumstick, you have the balance of male and female energies, but you're also using the drum is the female part of that and represents creation. And the way a drum is made, you literally are creating. There's a spirit that lives within the drum. Okay. And when you're creating the drum, you literally are creating the universe with the lacing, the webbing. And so when you're using the drum, that's why we say drums are big medicine, is because the entire universe is in that drum. Yeah, it's not a little thing. It's nothing to use carelessly, okay? And so when Kyle is writing about using the drum to uncover insights and information that's important to your path, you are taking a very conscious way to connect with spirit, with your spiritual team, so that you can either sense, see, feel, hear about your spiritual path. It's big. So getting this card in my world anyway, this when this card jumped out of the deck this morning, it was like woohoo! I love this card because that means there's big medicine around, afoot. Big medicine afoot. Yeah. How many people in the chat drum? Have a drum. Hi, Anne. Yeah, and she's saying hammock time. I haven't forgotten what you had suggested here for us to put that hammock up. In fact, the other night we were walking George up here, and I was looking at the trees. Where can we put that hammock? Yeah. Hi, Mary Anderson Fry, and Elise is here too. Hello, Elise. Good to see you in the chat. So the second card that we got is the drum. And Kyle is writing about the drum and says that in shamanic traditions, in all four corners of the world, the drum is recognized as the main tool used by medicine men and women to direct their will and aid meditation. A drum beat can become hypnotic and send those listening into an altered state that can allow them to journey to the spiritual realms and meet their guides. Yeah, you really don't have to travel anywhere. You can be right there in your world, and because your spiritual team is there 365 days, every minute of those days. So, but when we're drumming, it relaxes us, and it does put us into an altered state in the way that you're in between. You're not quite asleep and you're not quite awake. Okay, you know what's going on around you, and so when we do that, we're more relaxed, and we can hear, sense, or feel, see what our spiritual team is telling us. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't use a drum to do shamanic journey to lower world, upper world, middle world. Yeah, we can do that. This is not what we're talking about today. Today, what we're talking about, the use of the drum, is to help you to get into that in-between space so that you're able to hear your spiritual team much easier. Your busy mind is quiet. Your busy mind is quiet. Yeah. Drum. You are very connected to the other worlds at this time. The wisdom and intelligence of the earth and her magic surrounds you. The drum, which echoes the sound of Mother Earth's heartbeat, has cleared the cobwebs and dust from your inner vision. What you have seen in your dreams and inner vision is not imagination, but guidance, particularly if it has been coming to you repeatedly and has the potential to become reality. Dreams do come true. Yeah. So using the drum, you can get some clarity over what direction to take, what you should be working on next, those kinds of things. Yeah. And you can actually use the drum to be able to set your prayers and your intentions as well. So getting information from your spiritual team, right? That's one. And then maybe in another session, once you set your intention, because it takes a little while to set it, right? To be clear with it. Then you can go ahead and use the drum again to drum that prayer, drum those intentions, and send them out into the universe so that your spiritual team and literally all of creation, all of the universe is behind you, supporting you. Yeah. Julie says, me. Yes, she does drum. And Nellie is saying, preparing to make my drum. I dreamt a while ago about the time when I make it is drawing near. Yay for that. Yay for that. A new spirit coming into the world. And Elise said, shared. Thank you, Elise, so much. And Polly Jo saying, waiting for my drum to be ready to come to me. Yes, it's still sitting back here in the cabinet. Every time I think, when it starts to slow down a little bit, and it's never slowed down. So I just put it on my calendar. I'm going to get it done in November. We'll pick a good day, a good weekend to do it in November, and get it shipped to you before the end of the year. How's that? Sometime before the end of the year. Lee says, I'm hoping to make my drum one day soon, hopefully in the spring, right? Anne says, I remember visiting your last day of your drum making class at Great Lakes Retreat. The entire class looked like they were giving birth. Yes, because you are. You are. It is a birthing process because you're bringing a spirit into a drum. Yeah, and that's a huge difference between buying a drum off the internet, buying a drum in a store, buying a drum that is that doesn't have a natural drum head, um, is that there's no spiritual connection to it. There's not a spirit that resides in that drum. But when you make a drum or have a drum made for you specifically and with ceremony and intention of bringing a spirit into that drum, it makes a huge difference in the connection to that drum. Yeah. Yay, Polly Joe says. All right, so that's the drum. So the drum you're using to connect with your spiritual team, to get information and insight about your spiritual path, what your soul contract, things that you're meant to do here. What am I working on now? How should I be doing this? What's my next best step? Those kinds of things. Okay. And here's the third card. Wait till you see this card. Peacemaker. Let go of the need to be right. Okay. White buffalo calf woman. The white buffalo in the background. Yeah. Trying to get that into focus a little bit better. That this card has a lot of information in it. Because she's carrying a chanupa, which is a sacred pipe. It's not a peace pipe, although wait till I read about what Kyle has to say. It is about peace, it is about harmony, but it's not a peace pipe. And there's smoke coming out of the pipe, which means that prayers have been said, that there is they don't use tobacco in these pipes. They use I had the word and it just gone. Conchacha. That's it, conchacha, which is willow bark and maybe some other herbs in there too. But yeah. Okay, here's a teachable moment. This has nothing to do with the card really about the essence. But do you see the beadwork, the design on the chanupa and on her choker, the one around her neck? I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can. There we go. Geometric designs. Geometric designs in beadwork. In the old days, I would say before 1970, maybe 1980, we used to be able to tell where someone was from by their dance outfit and their dance regalia, by the designs of the beadwork and designs that were on their clothes. Those tribal nations who live west of the Mississippi, so the Great Plains and west, okay, most of them use geometrical designs. So diamond shape, arrowhead shape, anything that had say, the geometry, the angles to it, angular. So the Osheti Sakoi, which is the Great Sioux Nation, in other words, you'll see a lot of that in their beadwork. Tribal nations east of the Mississippi, woodland Indians, natives, we use a lot of floral designs. You'll see flowers and vines, yeah, a lot of earth colors, those kinds of things. So when you're looking at beadwork and you see those kind of designs, you can kind of make a really good educated guess that the person who created that beadwork was either making designs from east of the Mississippi, floral designs, or the geometric designs west of the Mississippi. But you guys didn't know that. I have a mom who's a longtime beadworker. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for showing. Thank you, Julie. And Rashani says, "Good evening from South Africa, Johannesburg." Good evening, Rashani. I'm so glad you visiting again. Oh, except we're not doing individual card draws. Yeah, sorry. This is about cards that I draw earlier in the day, about the energy that's most important for us to know about for today. So it's really for all of us, just not an individual card. Although we do have shows here on Star Nations Radio Network, live stream shows on Facebook that do individual card draws. In fact, we have two of the live stream hosts in the live chat right now that do that. The first one is Julie Hedges in her show, The Tarot Journey. Many times in Julie's monthly shows, the third Monday of every month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, she will do card draws near the end of her show, like the last 20 minutes or so. So Julie does card draws. And Polly Joe LeBay, on her show on Wednesday nights, which is a weekly show called Soul Connections at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. There's a healing meditation, and then the last half hour or 45 minutes or so of that show, she does individual card draws, which are really, these two ladies basically do mini readings when they're doing their card draws. So, Rashani, what we can do is I can ask those two ladies if they can put their Facebook fan page to their shows in the comments. That way you have them and you can check them out, and they can do those individual card draws. You can do that, okay? Yeah, from Johannesburg. Evening there. Yeah, and Jules is saying, Rashani, this is a group draw. Yep, there you go. And Julie, if you could please put the Tarot Journey Facebook fan page link in the comments for Rashani, that would be great, okay? And also, if Polly Joe, if you're able to do that too. If not, maybe I can do it after the show. Oh, thank you, Rashani. He says that that he loves the Native Indian culture. Well, thank you. There's a lot to love about it, and I'm partial. All right, so the Peacemaker. This is about the White Buffalo Calf Woman, and it is a prophecy that comes out of the Lakota Nation, the Osheti Sakoi, actually the Great Sioux Nation. They had this spirit being that came to them to give them the 7 gifts, and the Chanupa, which is the sacred pipe, is one of those 7 gifts, and they all 7 culminate to the last gift, the 7th gift, which is Sundance, and so they all kind of build on each other to be able to get to Sundance. Not everyone Sundances, although they may have participated in the other 6 of the gifts that were given to them. And so A few years ago, um, the 19th generation keeper of the white buffalo calf woman bundle, which means the pipe, the original pipe, um, he made the proclamation that information that was kept very close, and not talked about with other people outside of the Osheti Sakoi, were being released. They were able to talk about it. So then we started seeing sun dances and other of the ceremonies going across the United States, not just in North or South Dakota or Cheyenne, the Cheyenne people. So, yeah. So let me see what Kyle says about the peacemaker. I got to get the right page here. 58. Our Chief Orville Looking Horse is the person who is the 19th generation keeper of the White Buffalo Calf Woman bundle, and he is the um, spiritual leader for the Osheti Sakoi. Yeah. So when he made that proclamation, people listened to him. Yeah. All right. So the peacekeeper let go of the need to be right. The message is choose peace and happiness over the need to be right. Rather than trying to prove a point, save your energy for what's important. Yeah. I have to say that usually when we have a confrontation, a friction, um, an altercation with another two-legged, many times when we can't let it go is because we want to prove that we're right. And I think we've all experienced that at one time or another. You know, that you want to be the one that's vindicated, that you can prove your innocence, anything like that. You know, that it takes a lot of energy to hold on to that, a lot, and that kind of energy, it's something that I call energy allocation. We have to choose where to place our energy. And if you choose to place it in a location in your life that you want to keep this whatever happened alive and energized, the fire going underneath it, so that you can prove that you were the one that was right. Right. Instead of putting your energy into maybe creating something, you know, rather than putting your energy into the being right, you might have been able to create, oh, I don't know, maybe a new book, or if you're an artist, creating a new piece of artwork. And I'm not saying that we don't deal with the situation, that friction, that confrontation. Um, but when we're trying to be right, that's coming from our ego, from our mind, and not our heart. And so when we want to learn whatever lesson it is that we're meant to learn through that challenge, that's where we put our energy, right? That's where we put our heart energy, is what part of this is mine? What part of that situation am I responsible for? What am I supposed to learn from that? And then we start to heal around it. That's where you can allocate your energy. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I got to scroll up. You guys, I'm behind. All right. So Polly Joe has chakra sessions in the chat, the link there. And Julie's telling Roshani that she's glad he's here, and card draws are so fun. Please visit when you get a chance. And she put down the tarot journey. Link. And Jackie says this card looks a lot like my drum. It does. So what do you have artwork on your drum head? Yeah. So you have a white buffalo on the drum head or what? Oh, well, Julie's got to go to a meeting because she's at work. Have a good meeting, Julie. We'll see. We'll catch you later. Polly Joe says, I'm not sure that it's the chakra sessions with Polly Joe Levate. There you go. Hi, Maya. Yeah, Maya, we're not doing individual card draws. We were just explaining it to someone else, Rashani. Um, the two ladies, Julie Hedges and Polly Joe LeBay, they both have shows, live stream shows here on Star Nation's radio network. And they just shared their links. And on their shows, they have individual card draws, right? And so Julie has a monthly show, which is on Monday, the third Monday of each month, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And Polly Joe has a weekly show called Soul Connections. Soul Connections, where she does individual card draws in the last half hour to 45 minutes of that healing time. So you can catch that. They're really good at it too. You'll like it. And Polly Joe says, Amaya, these are, okay, she's going on to explain. Thank you, Polly Joe. And Rashani is saying, thank you, ladies. Yay. All right, so about the Peacekeeper card. And for those who are just joining, this is the last card that came this morning, the third one. It says the Peacekeeper is a wise Native American woman who has been influenced by white buffalo woman. She holds a peace pipe, which symbolizes surrendering the need to fight and offering harmony instead. All right, so now here is a good example of Kyle, the author, writing from his perspective and his culture from the UK, right? The white buffalo calf woman is a spirit that came in a woman's form to bring the gifts from the Creator to the Lakota, to the Oceti-Sakowin, the Great Sioux Nation. Okay, and what she's holding is not a peace pipe. Not. That's very Hollywood. What she's holding is a sacred pipe. It's called a chanupa in the Lakota language. Chanupa. It's a sacred pipe. It's not a peace pipe. Although the chanupa is for prayers and bringing people together. So when you share a pipe with someone, when you smoke the pipe with somebody, you are agreeing to speak from your heart and to tell the truth. Somebody should have told that to the U.S. government, because there was a lot of pipes smoked with the U.S. government in the 1800s. And so the peace pipe is very Hollywood. It's a mistranslated into English from an indigenous language. Okay, so it's a chanupa, and it is a sacred pipe. Its intention is to bring people together. It is that. And to bring people together is to be able to have the space where they can speak their truth. Okay. And the harmony piece is that you want to get to the point of peace through harmony and understanding each other in communication. Yeah. And lots and lots of prayers are said with and through a chanupa. Lots of them. You don't necessarily have to have a group of people to do that. You can do it on your own. If you are a pipe carrier, many pipe carriers pray for a lot of people when they're by themselves. And many times we'll get, can you say a prayer for so and so? They're going through, a hard time, or they're going through surgery or whatever. And we'll take the pipe out, and we will load the pipe with tobacco or conchacha, and do that. Now, you have to know that the pipe that's shown here, the chanupa, they use something called conchacha, which is actually willow bark. Native Americans east of the Mississippi, we do use pipes as well, but we actually use tobacco in our pipes. And they may or may not look like that pipe. They could have, they're very individual, very individual. Okay. Okay, we're almost done. All right, so with this one, with this card, it really is about you may be feeling on edge due to a stressful situation, and that there's a warrior within you that wants to rise up, prove your point, and get the truth across. But you're being reminded by ancestor wisdom that truth will always be revealed in the end. It's more important at this time to avoid arguments or heated discussions where you know you'll be fighting a losing battle. There is much more power in choosing to move forward from a higher perspective. This will allow you to connect deeply with the guidance within and the intuition that will lead you towards the healing of the whole situation. Along with any wounds it may have been inflicted, choose peace. Choose peace. You know it's calling you, he says. All right, so this is about peace, about choosing peace. That you may be in a situation right now where you have to make the choice to continue to try to prove yourself right, which is coming from your ego, or to come from your heart, possibly having to let that go and believing that spirit will take care of that. Handing it over to the creator, to God, to your spiritual team. To your spiritual team. All right, so today's energy, we started with this. Mirror Guardian, taking the time to reflect, taking that time to see how far you've come, right? Everything that you've been through and all the success that you've had that you may not have recognized or acknowledged. And this one was about the drum, about going within and getting information from spirit about what's on your path, the insights and information. And this one was about making peace, choosing peace over, choosing your heart over your head, basically. Choosing peace instead of the confrontation and trying to prove yourself right. So you put these three together, putting them together. What are they telling us today? All right. So when we do that reflection work, reflecting of how much we've accomplished, taking a look at ourselves, maybe there's a piece in there about ourselves that we've been working on for a while, part of our shadow self. Yeah. Done a lot of work with it, but now maybe the next step or the next piece of it, the next part of that journey is really going to the root of it, asking our spiritual team, show me the root so we can get to the root of it. And then having to make the decision for peace, for the peace over here. Choosing peace instead of the ego part of us, right? Growing from it. That's huge soul growth. When you get to that point of choosing peace over trying to be right, that's huge growth. So that, I believe, is the message for today. Long one, sorry, it was 3 cards. We're about 10 minutes past. So take what resonated with you and embrace it. See where the day unfolds for you and how you can utilize that information. And if it didn't, that's okay. Don't worry. Didn't resonate. Wasn't meant for you. You maybe can share the recorded video with a friend who might be looking for this information and or enjoy the kind of conversation, right? Either way, you learn something. You're learning something from it. So enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you back here. Tomorrow is Friday, and I have a business meeting that I have to be at 2 p.m. Central Time. So I have to make a decision. You might see me in the morning, okay, 10 a.m. Central Time, that'd be 11 Eastern. Or you may see me earlier in the afternoon than 2. I might do a 1 o'clock rather than a 2 o'clock. I have to try to figure that piece out. It's a business meeting that I have to be at. And I'm kind of an integral piece to that meeting, so I have to be there. So I'll let you guys know. I will post it, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay? Ba Mamina, that means in Potawatomi, until we see each other again. Love you guys.